Jon Anik and Kenny Florian podcast. Jon Anik and Kenny Florian.
I f***ing love him. I can't get enough of him.
Let's hear that Boston next.
Big jab there from Duffy, and Frank Mir is hurt now. Down goes Duffy, out cold. Frank Mir does it again. Rock'em sock'em robots here. Oh my goodness.
Hyperbole. They're a couple of absolutely self-involved bull artists.
Here are your hosts, Jon Anik and Kenny Florian.
Cody, we better start rolling, So, somebody said to me, they were like, hey, man, I'm a big fan of your work. I just want to let you know I am one of the Minutemen. As if to say, my loyalty resides with Longo first.
That's pretty good.
He's not even kidding, We're going to adjust your headroom, but it's great to have you with us. This is great. I mean, this is great.
Wait, let
you're
me
like
turn
a little
sideways,
Oompa Loompa, except you're not green. No, that's worse.
Oh, I thought he's going to.
We'll get there, though. Believe it or not, it is episode 423 of the Anik and Florian podcast presented by DraftKings. We're live on the DraftKings network.
What is this?
I heard standing on your head is good for you.
Look, he's sideways.
You can also find the show on the DraftKings YouTube channel, clips on the Anik and Florian podcast YouTube channel. How we doing, Ray? Oh, if you are audio only today, you don't even know.
No, definitely not. Come on, Cody. I got the phone standing up right now.
Well, that's better. All right, now we can actually see your whole head. You look lean. Are you particularly lean right now?
I am trying to lose weight a little bit.
So how have you done that? You look lean.
Take the pressure off the hip. No, I just really, been my basic workouts and just eating right, and that's it. Cut out sugar.
Yeah,
all that shit.
All right, so I appreciate you being vertical right now. Can you see yourself and understand that we're just seeing you in the bottom half of the screen? So we just want to see more of you, and then that's what we're looking for.
How's that? Wait a minute. How's that? Better,
that's great. Right? Absolutely great. Your camera's better than mine. It is Wednesday, July 19th, 2023. It's great to have you with us. Great to see Ray Longo repping Dana White's Contender Series.
Yeah.
So viewership was down on Sunday and Monday, I think, because Ray Longo was not a part of our show. Tremendous job by the General Saif Saud on the Anik and Florian podcast.
I listened. Saif sounded great, man.
Yeah. Saif's the man and a good friend. Cody just mentioned something about fixing something in post. I'm not sure that has to be done, but it's great to see you, Raymond. Certainly, I am joking. The viewership was up, incidentally. No, but people missed you. People missed you earlier this week, as did I. So we're connecting with you midweek. So you're back in the tri-state area. Busy weekend and a successful weekend in Las Vegas for you.
Yeah, busy, and just lucky to be back because guys' flights got canceled. They got stuck there for 2 extra days. So I got out late, but I got home maybe 2 a.m. on Sunday night. So I'm still a little banged up. And then I had Weidman in the gym since Monday. So I had to be there for that. And we got him started. He looks really good, man. We're having a great time. We got the ESPN cameras coming down today, documenting his horrendous injury and his comeback story. So, big stuff, man. It's great to have the energy back in the gym. And great weekend for Naz. He called me, told me people are bitching about fence grab, and I looked at the tape. Literally, listen, I'm telling you, I'm as transparent as on being as biased as possible. That had nothing to do with the fucking fight. Nothing. I looked. They posted his hand up there. One time, Peterson slapped his hand. Next time, he put his palm there. It was not even in a position to get flipped over. That's really reaching for fucking straws at this point.
I was going to mess with you and start today, be like, yeah, man, you guys got it done. I mean, you cheated, but you got it done. But you beat me to it.
I came right out guns blazing. I'm ahead of everybody.
All right, so I have a lot to get to with you. So no more than a half hour ago, I actually spoke with Stefania Bell, my former colleague at ESPN. She is coming to interview you today.
Oh,
so
nice.
Make sure you're super nice to her. But I told her about our relationship, and I sat down with her for this E60 piece that you speak of. And for those that don't know, E60 is doing a documentary on Chris Weidman, his leg break, his ensuing return. It will be released at some point, is my understanding, after the Brad Tavares fight in August. Longo probably knows more as to Chris Weidman's fighting future beyond that date. Perhaps much will be decided in terms of the outcome of that fight, but you can't even with like a total straight face tell me that he looks good because he looks so good, right? Like what you really want to say is that he looks like he could fight right now. He's exactly 4 weeks out. He looks tremendous. I mean, you could tell us, you could give us some insight skill for skill. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But physically, if Instagram is any indication, this dude is absolutely ripped and ready to go right now.
100%. No, you kind of said it all. So I'll just add a little things. I mean, I'm glad I was with him the last 2 days. We got a great workout plan today. And I think even the ESPN cameras will be pleased at what they see. I mean, I really, cardio-wise, he's on point. And I know like the things I did with him 2 years ago, he's doing better today. So we'll get some sparring in Thursday and Saturday. But for right now, the drilling and the conditioning and the mitt work and everything looks fantastic.
So he told Ariel Helwani that he was going to throw a leg kick as his first strike to get that out of the way. How much veracity is in that statement? Do you take him at his word?
I'll have to see after the sparring, but as far as kicking a pretty hard heavy bag, he's 100% going full force. So, I mean, I don't know that like again, it's been, I got home late. It's been crazy, but he looks really good.
Yeah.
So have we talked about the leg? No, it's always there's not even time to talk. I just have him moving, and then we just hang out and bullshit afterwards. But he looks great kicking the bag. So I don't know if that's an indication, but he's not shying away from that leg. That's for damn sure.
And he's an absolute marauder on the ground. Like if he gets the fight there, there's no weight on the leg, and he's one of the best in the division, if not the best down there as far as the grappling goes. So we're very excited to have Chris Weidman back. And man, I mean, that smile on Ray Longo in the gym was ear to ear. I mean, it seems like this realignment in New York is making you a very happy man as well.
Yeah, it's great. I've stressed this a bunch of times, man. I miss these guys that left.
Yeah, Carolina Chris. Yeah, Carolina Chris. Yeah.
The energy, he came in guns blazing, and it's been just, a ball-busting great time.
So for Nazim Sadykhov, right? I mean, it wasn't the perfect fight, obviously. His back was taken. He was challenged. You could argue maybe it is a good fight to have experienced that adversity, but what were your thoughts on not the allegations from Terrence McKinney, the fight in its totality?
Look, we said it before the fight, and look, I like Terrence McKinney. Seems like a nice kid, but he's got to look. The thing with Nas, the first time he doesn't get what he wants, that's it. The fight's over, and I think I'm not the only guy saying that. So, but we had said this over and over again, before the fight. So, look, when he got his back, I mean, that was a huge chance for Terrence McKinney, but he wasn't really close to getting anything. And you could see the way Nas finished that round, that it was only going to go, to me, in one direction. I mean, and that's what happened. So, I'm with you, John. I mean, I don't know if I'm with you, but I know you said it, but it's a great little adversity bump in this point in his career. And I love to see that stuff. He didn't panic, before the fight. I said, because I was with him for the wrestling and for all the, the stand-up work and the sparring, but I wasn't really watching his jiu-jitsu. But I did say, did you do your bad positioning work? And he said, man, I had, all the guys at Sarah's on my back. I feel good. And once he said that, and once I saw what was going on in the first round, I was very comfortable.
So this 155-pound division, my colleague RJ Clifford sort of alluded to it on social media. Let us not get it twisted. You have two guys now sort of smack dab in the middle of this thing at lightweight, at the very least in the top 25. One of them's top 15. This is the best. This is the best division in the UFC, right? Dominic Cruz, come at me, right? Cody, right there with the lightweight top 15. 100, it's my favorite division to watch. At least I can say that.
That's different. Yeah, I think 100%. I look at the the age of the division. I mean, that division, there's a bunch of guys up there that are getting kind of old at this point too, right? How many fights do they have left? So, the Fergusons and even Michael Chandler's, these guys are all in great shape, but how long do they want to keep fighting? I don't know. I mean, they all have to be 35 to 36 at this point, no? So it should be interesting when those guys clear out what happens. So I think we're in a good spot. Frivola's in a good spot. Nas is a real strong up and comer, very super talented, super dedicated fighter. So I got two guys again that are going to be in that division. That, let me say up front, because it was asked already, they will never fight each other. As long as
people are always trying to get him to fight.
That's the first thing in the press conference. If it happens, like Aljo and Merab, would you fight each other? Not as long as I'm there. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm not using guys that grew up together, training together, and I'm not saying their relationship is anywhere near, Aljo's and Merab's, because it would need more time. But they could head there because we've been together now for the last bunch of fights. So
it's unnecessary. Ian Gary has a bunch of teammates in the top 15. You find a way to fight other guys.
Yeah, it becomes
unless it's a title fight and both guys really need the money, and there's a circumstance where Aljo's staying at 35 long term and the promotion offers may rob the title fight. Only the most special of circumstances. But no, it's a foolish conversation. And even when you look at the top 15 at lightweight, Rafael Fiziev and Arman Tsarukyan, number 6 and number 8 in the world, same manager, Danny Rube, they train together. Like, I know people want them to fight, but at least my informed speculation tells me those guys are not going to fight at all. So Dan Hooker had a post on social media. And if you don't know, he broke a bone in his face. He broke his arm, just a scratch. You can get the merchandise engaged right now. Here's the caption from Dan Hangman on Instagram. This is the part I love, when it stops being a sport, when it doesn't matter who the better athlete is. In this moment in the sporting contest, the sporting contest ends and the fight begins. I mean, to have a guy like that. And I just want to get your thoughts on that. I mean, I'm certain you've had fighters that are more cut from that cloth, and then more fighters who are the professional athlete type. Kenny and I had a conversation off the air in Vegas about fighters trying to win rounds, maybe more athlete type fighters versus finishers who maybe are more like fighters. And again, that's a very broad,
interesting,
lens into our conversation. But what are your thoughts on Dan Hooker, everybody's new favorite fighter?
Listen, the guy's a stud, and he's got a stud mentality. It's almost, I could compare that to Merab. I always tell you the story where his toe came through his bone came through his toe, like John Jones, and he was laughing as he was hopping into the emergency room, filming himself. Some guys are just fucking bonkers, man. And
he's different. He's a great example.
Yeah, Merab. He's a great. But Hooker in the fight, to win that fight with all that, the broken bone in his arm, and you're still telling, I didn't even know about the jaw or the orbital, but just the guy. That's a fighter, man. That's the definition of a fighter.
If you look back at some of the footage, you can see the head kick that seemingly breaks his face in half, and he fights through it.
Yeah.
Oftentimes I say, like, what species am I, right? Like, how am Dan Hooker and I, right? We're both human beings, and we're both Caucasian men, right? Is that correct? How is that even possible, right? Like, I can't even relate. I hope my daughters don't watch this episode.
You'd be surprised what you can
How
know. Tough
I am?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I should try to set a pull-up record this week.
But I will. Look, we said it on the last podcast with that. I love those fights where, look, I go through this with my fighters all the time, because this is what happens. Even I don't know if it happened with Jalen Turner, but you hit a guy with a shot like that, it could either be demoralizing, or you use it to go, oh, you could take that? Oh, I got more for you, man. There's more coming. Oh, right. I'm so glad you're happy with that. And that's the type of philosophy I try to teach my guys. Please do not get frustrated. There are guys out there that are going to eat your best shot and just look at you and laugh. And if that demoralizes, you're going to be in trouble. So you have to, change the way you look at things, the things you look at change type of mentality. And that's what I believe happened. He hits that guy with a shot that 9 out of 10 times ends the fight. And then the guy's still in his face.
Yeah.
And now what? What do I have to do, John? What do I have to do to get rid of this guy? I just booted him in the head. He's still coming. I don't know. Does that zap you? Does that break you mentally a little bit? Could.
Yeah. All right. I have a few other things with one of the guys in the mix for Coach of the Year. I mean, I'm never going to give you my Coach of the Year here on the Anik and Florian podcast. Right. Ken Flo loves giving you that fucking award. You're never getting it from me. Never getting it from me. So But it is amazing your run of success. And when I was talking to Stefania Bell today, I do believe one of the things she is going to ask you today, this can be your little pre-interview, is to what do you attribute the team's success? And oftentimes you're asked this question. And so as I was thinking about our one-on-one conversation today, and hopefully people are enjoying the extended Ray Longo minute, all the fucking minute men, okay, this is for you.
Yeah, guys.
You keep things very tight to the vest, especially here on the show. And we have fun with it as almost a radio comedic bit. But my question is, the media mogul that you are, when you're doing all these other interviews that I'm not ingesting, just kidding, I do watch some of them. But when you're doing all these other interviews, I'm just breaking your stones.
That's all good, man.
When you're doing all these other interviews, are you a little bit more revealing? Because it is amazing. As soon as we talk, like we bring up Weidman, you're unwilling to give up a lot of detail. And I don't know if that has always been by design, but when I think about your overall greatness, I don't think enough about how tight-lipped you are. I can get a lot more out of some of these other coaches. Saif Saud went off a few days ago.
Oh, well, if Saif Saud went off, I'll just go off and throw everything out on the table.
Hey, no. Obviously you are somebody who walks right up to that line and crosses it at times. Yeah. But when it comes to your athletes, right, you would never have gone on the offensive, right? Like Ian Gary is wearing a T-shirt with Jeff Neal's mugshot on it, right? Yeah. And the general Saif Saud engaged in that conversation. Now, you would not only be reluctant to do that, but you don't give us a lot on your athletes. I'm just having fun with you, but I'm curious.
But that's you're good. You're good with that. First off, I don't need to do that because I have Sarah as my pit bull.
That's right.
I know he's coming with it, so. You know, I'm going to say back in the day, it was both of us. I think I've learned to calm down and like, what good does that do? It's not smoke and mirrors, man. You got to put the work in. You have to have the talent. And, but that's really it. I mean, if something like that's going to distract you or motivate you, all right. But I don't think it should. I think your motivation should always be to win, no matter what. Like Aljo would always say that. So I insulted the guy. He's going to hit me harder now. We're in a fucking fist fight. Like, what's going to happen? Oh, is Jeff Neal? Oh, now he's mad, so he's really going to fight me. He wasn't really going to fight me before the bullseye on my shirt. He was just going to come in and play with me. Right? What's the fucking difference?
Well, right. Sources of motivation can be interesting. Right. Certainly,
but it has to come from
within. Yeah, I mean, Alexandre Pantoja tried to sort of upstage Brandon Moreno's moment when Moreno regained the title, and then Pantoja went out and beat him. So I'm sure that helped Moreno on some training days that he really wanted to beat Pantoja. But at the end of the day, he didn't necessarily get it done. I see Drew Dober, who's a recent father and recent guest on the Anik and Florian podcast, writing like Daddy Dober needs a fight, right? And Dan Ige, other guys have learned the lesson, right? Maybe trying to channel too much from becoming a father, right? Like Sean O'Malley said he had all the championship motivation in the world. He certainly didn't need a child to have any extra source of motivation, right?
I can't disagree with that.
Yeah, you like that.
But there are individuals out there where it does mean some. Hey, look, it's an individual by individual basis. Yeah. That's it. And my job as a coach is to know when to feed into it, when not to feed into it, who to feed it into, who not to feed, who doesn't care. Who, if I say that, will tell me I'm a fucking idiot. If I say, you know what I mean? It's like, you have to know your guy. You have to know which way to push him. So, look, the things you're never going to see are the things that are in the gym that are being said and all that stuff. But wait, I'll be as revealing as you want. What do you want me to reveal?
Well, no, that's what I want to get to. No, well, you're almost like Bill Belichick, right? Like we're on to Cincinnati. I'm not really going to give you very much because there's no upside for you to come on here and be like, John, I got to tell you, man, like, if Weidman had to fight this weekend, he looks like he's in the shape of his life. There's no upside, right? Brad Tavares could be listening. God love BT, right?
No, it doesn't matter. So, I'm not bullshitting.
But oftentimes when I ask you about your athletes, you smile. And if you were hooked up to some sort of machine, there's some sort of behavioral tell from you that you don't. All right. So talk to me then. I mean, Weidman looks to be in great shape. Like I asked Robert Whitaker recently, dude, am I reading too much into your Instagram photos? And he said, no. I'm in the best shape of my life. I cut milk out from my coffee. That's why I look more shredded. I mean, Weidman looks outstanding, Raymond. What do you have for us?
He's working his ass off. That's the only way you get to look like that. I don't know. That's not rocket science, is it? And I can tell you by what I did with him in the last couple of days, it was great to see him. Even though we talk on the phone, it's good to have him in house. And I'm sure he's out to prove to me that no matter what I do with him, these next couple, I can't break him. Right? That's who he is. That's why he's back. That's why he had the horrendous injury, and he's coming back, and he won't take no for an answer. Win, lose, or draw, he's going in there. He probably will throw the kick if that's what he said. My advice probably wouldn't be to, at this stage of the game to throw it, but by what I'm looking at in the gym, yeah, I mean, I really have to talk to him about the injury and where, exactly, is it a bionic leg at this point? I don't know. So
yeah, there's got to be something in there.
But John, the point, like even with like Coach of the Year and stuff, all that matters is I think I'm the Coach of the Year, whether I say it or not. And the whole thing is I'm so grateful for literally everything I have. It's definitely not bullshit, like everything. The first rule for me about good coaching, it's not about me. That's the first. It's just not. If I wanted to be about me, I'd be the guy fighting, but I'm not. And those guys deserve all the credit. And by talking about me, I think I'm taking away from anything that these guys do. And I would never want to do that because I respect fighting and what these guys go through and all the surgeries they go through. What the fuck does it have to do? I mean, I'm glad I'm there to, steer them in the right direction if that's what it is, or make them feel better before the fight, or they know that, like me and Sarah have their back, and that's the type of team we are. It's, all for one and one for all, and that's it, man. That's the way I do things, and I think some people think maybe I'm not technical. I'm super technical with the stand-up, but, sometimes it's better to be a little more entertaining, I think, for the fans than to, get into all of that stuff. That's why I love Kenny. I love bouncing off of Kenny because he gets me going. Because he starts, breaking stuff down, and I'll always come in like, let me simplify. Just the thing with the Dan Hooker fight, he was tougher. That's it. That's the fight.
100%.
We could talk about technique all day long. He had his hand down. That's why he got kicked in the head. But he was tougher. That's the fucking bottom line on that fight.
Yeah.
And Jalen Turner's a great guy, and I said this, and I'll say it again. 3 years from now, he'll be ahead of where Dan Hooker is, I believe. You know what I'm saying? Because he does have the talent. These are growing fights. If he's around the right people, there was definitely no shame in that fight. But that's what happened. He has to learn how to manage his emotions. And if you get a guy hurt, you just enjoy the shit out of keep hurting him. You know what I mean? We don't fall apart, or we don't acquiesce to anything. And you make sure the guy's in the right shape where he could do that. And that's that would be my approach.
His social media post backed up everything you said on the podcast, and that's why you're the best. And it is interesting. You've never made it about yourself. Your athletes perpetually put you over, right? I mean, they couldn't wait to buy your merchandise. It was unbelievable, right? Yeah. To see your athletes. We put up Longo merchandise, and like we sell out because it's like Al Iaquinta and Matt fucking Frivola buying all of the Ray Longo merchandise. They have a lot of love for you. I do think it's interesting. Because financially, for a lot of these coaches, right, if you can produce a UFC champion, it can really help support your UFC family. And I know it's hard in an era where for a coach, you can develop a brand and to whatever degree make it about you, and it can actually help your family. It's a fine line, even for me, right?
Yeah, I know, but we're doing that, though. I mean, but it has to be organic, I think, right?
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Look. It's like, even like when I'm talking, I love money, but I'm just not going to make a fucking buffoon out of myself to get it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's got to be, it's just got to be, look, it's my way. It's really, that's it. If it's been working and that's it, I'm not the richest guy in the world, but I don't even know if I have to work anymore, really. I just love doing what I'm doing,
I love you. Hey, so if I had to guess, and you're far more on the inside lane than me, I would suggest, and this was part of, I think, what we talked about on E60, that Chris Weidman isn't coming back to prove a point on August 19th and change the finishing note as much as he is trying to come back and see how far he can actually take this thing.
Yes.
So where do you stand on that as far as how primal he is right now, how close to his fighting prime he is? And I guess it's a hard question, but it's probably one that they're going to ask you later today. Certainly you don't want to finish on that note from April of 2021. But I think he's far more leaning towards 2+ fights coming back than he is just a one-off against Brad Tavares to prove that he can come back and not break his leg again.
Yeah, he's 100% locked in on 2 fights plus. I could tell you that just from the bantering in the gym and the screaming back and forth. It's all good. It's all good. But to me, as a coach, this isn't an easy fight, but it's 100% a fair fight, and there's going to be a lot riding on this fight. To me, as a coach, so we'll see what happens. But I could tell you in his head, he does. There's a lot of good matchups for him because of the wrestling, and I think he wants to get to him. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Chris, if you're listening, you got to wrestle, but you already know that. You're a great striker. Yeah. So Anthony Lionheart-Smith and others have suggested Chris Weidman is the best fighter that they've ever trained with. And people have wondered aloud, man, how does this guy ever lose in MMA? Matt Serra used to talk about his ability to just incorporate jiu-jitsu knowledge into his game, like fucking that. Is he the best fighter, pound for pound, that you've ever coached?
I'll tell you what, man, as far as alpha mailing people and type of shit, I'll say that he's the biggest motherfucker I've ever trained, for sure.
Sorry, I'm looking up the betting line right now. That's why I don't have my contact.
It's funny that you mentioned Anthony Smith. I saw him at the weigh-ins, and he said, Weidman called him, asked him to train. He told I'm probably paraphrase. I'll make a joke at it, but he basically told him to go fuck himself. I go, Anthony, that's the right move. I could tell you, when I'm talking to him last week, anybody you put in front of me, I'm going to kill. This is what he's telling me on the fight. I go, you just suck. You're just a motherfucker, man. Yeah. So I got to get the old Weidman back. This fight to me has nothing to do with technique. It's all mentality. If I could get that mentality back, he's going to beat it. Because like Anthony Smith said, he's told me again, and I think he's even told you, he goes, I don't know how the guy's lost the fight.
Yeah, right. Right.
So when he's telling me that, my brain shifts into a different gear.
That's the shit our audio guy, Will Berger, is going to cut up, right? Now, he looks good, right? You see what I'm saying, though? You peel back the curtain a little bit there, and I don't know if that makes sense for you, right? Like, I'm a Patriots fan. Yeah. If you're Bill Belichick, I don't want to necessarily reveal how primal he is in the gym, right? Yeah, it's cool, and it doesn't, Brad Tavares isn't going to be motivated by that necessarily, but less is more, right? Like, why, in most walks of life, sports television and probably most fields, less is more, right? So obviously this is a format to inform and entertain, ideally. I don't know how much informing I do, right? So you telling us that he's ready to fucking kill a man and beat Israel Adesanya right now is what we're looking for here on the show.
He's saying he's going to beat anybody I think is good in the gym just to prove that he hasn't been there in a while.
Okay. Well, that's even better. I like that.
Not in the octagon. I mean, that again in the octagon, that's normal. You don't have to say it, but to say it to you come into the gym with total destruction, I think is hysterical. So I love it. But well, he's going to get tortured today, so we'll see how he does. But it's all fun. I love the guy, and look, sometimes the hardest things you go through in life, I think somebody said that, but the hardest things you go through in life produce the greatest moments. And that's really what I'm wishing for the guy. This thing was rough, man. Anybody that looked at him, plus I have to sit there and listen to him tell me how when he broke his leg, I left him in the ring and I went to the bar, so I wouldn't go to the hospital. Where do I go? It was COVID. Then we went through another thing. I call him right away. I talked to the guy for a half hour. And he's telling Tom Lane and his wife that he's upset because I haven't called him. So Tom Lane calls me. I just talked to the guy 3 days ago for an hour. He was so drugged up. He had no clue. Oh. So this is the type of shit in the gym that goes on constantly, literally constantly. So basically I left him for dead, which isn't true.
All right, before we let you fly, and we appreciate your time midweek, who do you have going this weekend? You got anything? Always got something going on, right? Your poor wife.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm gonna. She'll start coming to the fights with me, but
or she could maybe she likes the fact that you're gone a lot. I don't know. It could go both ways.
I hope she does, because then she's very happy because I'm always gone.
Do you know the answer?
Let me bring up one other thing. While I was in Vegas, thank God I saw Aljo spar a bunch of times. he looks really fucking good. So everybody's, for me, that was such a great trip for me with the win, with Nas winning and getting to watch Aljo at the PI. Saw about at least 10 rounds, I think. He's looking good. He's in a good spot, so the camaraderie with the whole team is back and everybody knows what they have to do. And I'm super excited for everybody.
Aljo's a huge favorite.
Is he a huge favorite?
Well, it depends how you qualify huge. Minus 255 against Sean O'Malley. That's a huge price as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's huge. Wow.
Yeah.
Where's the Weidman line at?
I just looked for it on DraftKings Sportsbook. As yet, we do not have a betting line, so I'm sure Johnny Avello and the folks will turn one around for you. I'd imagine it'll be Chris Weidman be about minus 140 or so would be my guess, but you just never know. You just never know. It's a hard thing to come back from. I mean, Conor McGregor has been absorbing a lot of bullets. Some of those have been, self-inflicted wounds, but let us not forget how difficult this is to come back from, right? Some people said that Conor had a Brazilian flag mouthpiece going into that Poirier fight because he was going to call out Charles Oliveira after the fact, right? And I think that just speaks to that he was going to try to be in an active competition cycle, and his leg prevented him from doing that. So I'm really excited. I would think there's going to be a lot of emotion for one Ray Longo on August 18th, 19th. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know how the hell I'm making it through that, but it's going to be a great night. And wait, let me just recap a couple of things because we have coming up. I'm not even sure of the dates, but we have James Gonzalez fighting James Gallagher in Bellator. And then I think the couple of days after that, we have Pompos fighting in the Contender Series on Tuesday night. Then I fly back, go right to Boston for the big fight. And I hope that I leave out anybody. Oh, yeah, and Damian Nelson's fighting on the 18th, the night before in the PFL. So we got some big fights, and we're looking to get Phumi on a card in Tennessee the night before that UFC card. So
he came out of retirement.
I tell you what, he came out of retirement. This was, but it didn't go as he still doesn't have an opponent, and I thought he did have an opponent. So I don't know if anybody's going to fight him on short notice, but he's been terrorizing people in the gym. Super happy to have that energy back in the gym. That kid just lights up the room when he walks in, and look, as a coach, I need all those guys to bring me up. You know what I mean? Yeah. I miss guys, and it's. It's all good. So, I think I covered everything. I hope I didn't miss anybody.
Let us know. I'm sure Steve Lee will let us know.
Yeah.
Damian Nelson was the football player at Gettysburg College whose final exam I cheated on in biology. He gave me the multiple choice answers. And that's how we got through. All right, well, we're looking at maybe a Sunday late afternoon between 4 to 6 p.m. window for our UFC 291 preview. So I don't know how that jives with your schedule, but
that's perfect. But 291, right. Perfect.
We're talking like 3 or 4 days from now this Sunday. Maybe we'll grab you like 420. Grab a blunt, grab a backwood, hollow it out, put some lettuce in there, and we'll see you at 4:20 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. Hey, before I let you go.
Yeah.
When was your last haircut?
Man, it was really it was close. It was a couple of weeks
recently.
Ago. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
That's not that recent. So did you tip her?
A couple of weeks ago? No, not yet.
Why is this so funny? You think it's like a joke for the podcast?
I think it's a joke for the podcast. First off, I'm a huge tipper, so I don't want to even get in that category.
I'm just asking the questions, right? I mean,
you know why? Because she comes to the gym. I mean, it's just we're in and out fast. But
I understand.
I promise I'm going to tip. I don't even think about it because we start bullshit and that's it. We're
all right.
off.
Well, just keep it short, right? Especially with all these big primetime television things coming up. Like we certainly want it high and tight in advance of August 19th. And if you're going to the Contender Series, you don't want to be in a situation. And there are plenty of barbers in Las Vegas, but you don't want to be in a situation where come Monday of that week, you're leaving for the Contender Series. This is UFC 292 fight week, and your lettuce is every which way but sideways, as tangled as your fucking headphones.
I love it. Man, you are good with words, man.
Thank you.
You are good.
Hey, love you. Man. We'll talk this Sunday, and keep knocking them down, dude. That emoji, right? Just keep knocking them down. The greatest of all time. Ray Longo.
Awesome, man. You guys are the best. Not you guys. You're the best. Where's Kenny today? I missed him.
Kenny's on vacation. Kenny's. We should take our cues from Kenny Florian. So.
He's living large, isn't he?
I'll tell him that. Tell him that. Yeah, he's got a 40, 50-foot swing in his backyard in Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah, he's doing okay.
And a roller coaster.
Right. Yeah. Hey, have a great day and a better evening. We will talk to you Sunday night.
I'll talk to you Sunday.
All right, there he is. Ray Longo Minute here on the Anik and Florian podcast. We will be back this Sunday, July 23rd. Nomar Garciaparra's birthday. Nomar's off to my left. There he is, fixing his fucking batting gloves, number 5. All these other guys wearing number 5 after Nomar, they just hand it out like it's candy. Rocco Baldelli here, you could wear 5. Yeah, how about you put number 5 on the fucking rafters, Red Sox? How about that? We'll be back with you Sunday to get you ready for UFC 291, Poirier versus Gaethje 2. As of this taping midweek, it seems as though the fight between Alex Pineda and Jan Blachowicz is not going to be of the championship variety, and I think that's good. That's the way it should stay. We'll see what happens with Yuri Prochazka. But thanks for indulging us today, and thanks to Ray Longo for fitting us in. Obviously, he was traveling earlier in the week, and Sunday getting a full preview. I think it's 8 predictions from the fellas on UFC 291, and we'll recap everything that happens in London with Tommy Aspinall and everybody else. Thanks to our producer, Cody Merrill. Thanks to Ray Longo. For Ken I'm Jon Anik. We'll talk to you on Sunday or early Monday. Until then, yo fucking later.